right, we'll start the public power hour. And as we do this, we do not, just as always, we do not vote on anything tonight. It's really an opportunity for us to listen. We won't make any kind of decisions at all. And what we always do is whoever has emailed us will get to go first. So I'm going to, and then if after April comes up, then if anyone else in the audience would like to speak to us, then I'll call you at that time. But I'm going to ask Miss April Jordan if you would come on up, young lady. And we'd love to hear where you're from and who you're all with.
Y'all could probably tell my whole spiel by now.
We like to hear it.
Okay, well, thank you for having me, everybody. My name is April Jordan, and I am with the Cumbie Center in Aiken, South Carolina. We're a nonprofit agency that serves victims of domestic violence and sexual assault in 6 South Carolina counties: Aiken, Allendale, Barnwell, Edgefield, McCormick, and Saluda. And every year we recognize and participate in 3 awareness months per year. February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, so we're knee-deep in that one right now. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I do want to make mention of our Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. We have a conference in each of those awareness months, and we have one this Thursday on responding to disclosures of sexual abuse. And so it's free to the public. We have experts from across the state that always come in and speak. And if you go to our Facebook page, you can find the link to register. It's free and it's virtual for this one this week. But the main reason that I'm here, as I do for approaching every April and every October, is to ask all of you and your permission and tell you about what we have on Georgia Avenue. So in the month of April, we have these teal bows that will adorn the streets in all of our different areas, one of which is in North Augusta, up and down Georgia Avenue. They have an information card that's attached to them that will also give you information about why they're up there. Teal is the nationally recognized color for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And so this is what the bows look like, and I'll be back in October for the purple ones as well. But yeah, so this is just a way that we can raise awareness and get information out there about Cumbie Center, but also about the topic of sexual assault.
Have you been able to, I know with the cards, have you been able to track? I mean, we love it because I do see people asking about it on social media when they see it, so I'm glad we're doing it.
Yes.
And I know Jim's already confirmed everything for you on that. But is there any way for you to track anything besides just, we know people see the ribbons, but?
So we track all of our services, both direct and indirect, in many different ways. So we have a report that just has all these different numbers on it, right? And so the only way that we know about the folks of North Augusta who are actually reading these cards is if someone lets us know that information. Yeah. And so, but we do get tagged in things. We do get calls about them. As a matter of fact, we got a couple of calls last time from folks in North Augusta saying, tell me a little bit more about it. So, you know, it's something we do in all of our service counties. In the hopes, but if you understand and really take a deeper dive into the dynamics and complexities with sexual assault and domestic violence, most people ask questions or inquire about all the details about it anonymously. Yeah, and also, you know, don't typically disclose at the time of an incident. So it could have happened 3 years ago, and we just now hear about it. And so planting the seeds with this awareness information, those information cards that are attached to it, you know, that's what we're doing. And we may not see the fruits of this April's labor, you know, until 5 years down the road, who knows? But that, but also it's an opportunity to just raise awareness about Cumbie Center and the needs that we have too. You know, we get people that call, we get people that inquire through our website, through Facebook, Instagram, about the different needs that we have.
We're glad you're here, so thank
Well,
you.
excuse me, Mayor. One good thing when we have Third Thursday and there are a lot of people walking up and down, that would be a good way to people. Because I know myself, when I said, what are these ribbons? That's for, I guess, and then I went up myself and read.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
of course,
and so-
now y'all coming and the other group too. So, but like I said, Third Thursday, we have a lot of people on the streets.
Yeah, and
walking.
years ago we just hung ribbons.
Yeah.
It's just been in the past since I've been there.
Yeah.
Several years.
Well,
ago
it
now,
sure
but
stands out.
having the
It
cards.
sure stands out and makes you want to say, what is that?
Yeah, and a part
Yeah.
of what I do, I go out and do presentations.
Uh-huh.
I come over and I do trainings for your local law enforcement for North Augusta. So I'm involved in lots of different ways. I'd love to be out here more with churches and businesses and organizations. But law enforcement is really, really good about including us and learning.
I have you on my hotline, Cumbie Center.
I want to be on the hotline. Absolutely.
April, thank you, young lady. You're good. Thank you.
Good. Thanks.
Appreciate everything. All right. Are there anybody in the audience that would like to come in front of the city council for the public power hour? All right. Then we'll keep it open here for a little bit in case somebody walks in the last few minutes. All right, just want to make one more call. Anybody, citizens sitting out there? Nobody has anything they need to talk to us about on the public power hour? Okay, I don't. Make sure. Good evening. I'd like to call the City of North Augusta City Council meeting for February the 3rd, 2025 to order. It's great to see everybody. Thank y'all for being here. You are welcome to join me in prayer. Dear God, we come to you tonight lifting up the families and friends of the 64 people who died in the recent plane and Army helicopter crash, as well as the 6 people who died on the medical plane crash in Philadelphia. We pray all these people feel not only your presence and comfort, but that your arms holding them at this time. As we focus tonight on this meeting, we ask that you will be with this council as we do the work for our citizens in North Augusta. Amen. If you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to move into our roll call, starting from my left.
David McGee.
Pat Carpenter.
Britton Williams.
Jennifer McCauley.
David Buck.
Kevin Toole.
Okay, item 4, approval of minutes. Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions to the regular city council meeting minutes of January the 6th, 2025, or the study session minutes of January the 27th, 2025? Okay, hearing none, they stand approved as distributed. Thank you. Okay, this is really neat here. We're going to recognize some folks, so I'm going to ask them. These folks would come down. I think I've seen most of them. Corporal Patton, I know I saw him. Come on down, sir. PSO Oots, I know he's here. There he is. Firefighter Dandy, I know I saw him earlier. Come on down. And then I'm going to ask Mr. Alberto Chacon if he would come down, please. And Corporal Waldrop, I saw him here too. I wasn't going to forget about you. Yes, sir. Hi. How are you? How you doing? Okay. Here's why these folks are all up here. Let me kind of tell you a little story, real life here. On January the 3rd of this year, Corporal Patton, PSO Oots, and Firefighter Dandy were all at Station 3 when a citizen came knocking on the door stating that one of the city employees was outside laying on the ground. Corporal Patton then advised dispatch to contact EMS, went outside to the patient. PSO Oots and Firefighter Dandy grabbed medical bags and went to the patient. Corporal Waldrop then arrived at Station 3 and started a rapid assessment on the patient and found the patient to be unresponsive and not breathing. Corporal Patton then began doing CPR on the patient while PSO Oots and Firefighter Dandy started to prep the BVM and O2. Corporal Waldrop then grabbed the AED and attached it to the patient. After approximately 30 compressions, the AED provided an audible direction of shock advised. A shock was then delivered. CPR was resumed. Corporal Waldrop then noticed the victim start showing signs of life. CPR was then stopped and assisted rescue breathing was continued until the patient showed signs of full responsiveness. The patient then became verbally alert and was breathing normally on his own with a 99% O2 reading. EMS arrived shortly, able to transport the patient to Augusta MCG. Later on, a doctor from MCG called public safety stating that the patient was in the ICU awake and talking, and the patient wanted to thank Corporal Patton, Corporal Waldrop, PSO Oots, and Firefighter Dandy for saving his life. This is the real stuff of why we have the most incredible public safety. And the gentleman that these men saved, I think he probably would like to say a few words. Or maybe you don't. Would you like to say anything, sir?
Yeah.
It's on. Okay.
Yeah, yes, I want to, first thing I want to say, thanks God, and then thanks the guys over here. I know who hired me, but I appreciate it for, because I like, So that's it. I appreciate it for all they do, okay?
And these gentlemen are going to be recognized. Chief Johnson Public Safety does an award for them, so they will be recognized with an award. But we just wanted to bring you up here, and gentlemen, thank you for what you do, and just an incredible example you are, and how you represent our citizens, and just another example of what you do every day. So we thank y'all. Let's give one more round of applause. All right, Sergeant David Bunch, come on up here, young man. How you doing? Good to see you. Okay. You sure you want to do this? with deep gratitude and appreciation, we're going to recognize Station Sergeant David Bunch for his 27 years of dedicated service to the citizens of North Augusta, the men and women of North Augusta Public Safety. 27 years. Yes, sir. More than half my life. You started when you were 10, didn't you? Goodness gracious, boy. Young. David began his career with public safety in February of 1998 as a Station 2 firefighter. Steadily worked his way through the ranks, always striving for excellence in the betterment of the department. In February 2015, he was instrumental in launching operations at Station 3, demonstrating his leadership, expertise, and commitment to public service. A level-headed officer and a mentor to many, David was always willing to share his knowledge and guide others in their careers. His dedication extended beyond the field. As he pursued higher education while working, he earned an associate's degree from Aiken Technical College and a bachelor's degree from Columbia Southern University. David's unwavering commitment, professionalism, and mentorship have left a lasting impact on this public safety. You serve as a model for others to follow, and your presence will be greatly missed. Thank you, Dave, for your outstanding service and dedication, and appreciate everything you have done. That's awesome. That's awesome. And this is David A. Bunch, and appreciates for dedication service, February 18th, 1998 to February 11th, 2025, from Mayor, City Council, City of North Augusta, South Carolina. That's for you. And you got some folks here. Anybody you want to recognize? You want to say any words? Just give one chance. 27 years, trying to get the mic.
27 years. 27 years goes by pretty quick. I've enjoyed every minute of it. The City of North Augusta has been good to me and my family, and I'm sure they'll be good to the rest of them. You see the guys behind you. I've trained a lot of these guys, and I love them like a family. Thank you.
Thank you. These folks want to thank you. Yes, you can.
David, I love the Bunch family, but I don't know what I'm going to do without David in my splashdowns. So David, he's gone into all of these neighborhoods over the years and fed them. We had hot dogs, but thank you, David, for your service on that for these children.
Okay. I don't want those public safety. Y'all don't leave yet because I want to recognize. Not everybody's here, but we got a bunch of people here, so I just want to throw out some folks. Again, this is for our citizens more than anything. We talk. Can we bring that down? I need my sunglasses. So okay. These are just, again, what those gentlemen did there is not something they just woke up and did. They are trained, and what impresses me about Chief Johnson and his entire staff is they're always going for additional training and learning. PSO McBride, PSO Russo, they successfully completed a pistol-mounted optics instructor course hosted by Lexington County Sheriff's Department recently. PSO Ayers, PSO Curvin, PSO Hardy, they had outstanding performance during the most recent fire recruit hosted by North Augusta Public Safety and Aiken Department of Public Safety. I think Sergeant Melanie Chavis, where is she? There she is. She worked with an emergency management person what's called CRAZE, which is Citizens Response to Active Shooter. They did a class for all of the Hammond Hill elementary schools. So our men and women of public safety, they are continuing to educate themselves, are continuing to be the best at what they do. And when you hear what happened to Alberto, it just shows how incredible you are. So as far as our council, we want to give y'all up there a round of applause. Thank you for what you do. Okay, get back out on the streets. And then I am, Jim McCauley will handle the first old business number 6 as I recuse myself.
All right, I feel like this has been on the agenda for a while. Okay, in planning and development, ordinance number 2025-01 to change the corporate limits of the city of North Augusta by accepting the petition requesting annexation by the landowners and annexing 0.70 acres of property located at Edgefield Road, St. James Street, tax parcel number 01205140004, owned by Adams Brothers Properties, second reading. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on second reading? All right, Pat, do I have a second?
I'll second.
And David? Anything you want to share, Mr. Clifford?
Mayor Pro Tem, there is no additional information to share at this time. This was acted positively by the council at the last reading or the first reading. And so it is to you to decide whether you want to allow this or not. But it's a small parcel, 0.7 acres, and there are no undue hardships associated with annexing this particular plot.
And will you just, actually, sorry, any citizens' comments? All right, hearing none. Any council discussion? You just reference where the location is, since it's been a little while.
Location, which you have in your council packets, and also that we'll have for our citizens to see, but it's on Edgefield Road, right near the intersection of Edgefield and St. James. So as you get north along Edgefield Road, outside of where Knox and Edgefield come together, and then north of there is where we're looking to add in. So deeper into Belvedere, if you will.
Okay, thank you. Any other council discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, new business. Item 7, planning and development. Ordinance number 2025-02 to change the corporate limits of the city of North Augusta by accepting the petition requesting annexation by the landowners and annexing plus or minus 381.29 acres of property located east of Edgefield Road, north of Belvedere Clearwater Road, tax parcel number 011-14-04-045 and 011-19-01-001, owned by Walton, South Carolina, LLC. As a first reading, do I have a motion to put this motion on the floor? Is there a first? Ms. McCauley. Is there a second? Mr. Toole. Okay, it's now on the floor. I will make a motion to table this. There's no discussion at this point. It's just a matter, is there a first and a second?
So
First is Mr. Buck, and second?
Second.
Mr. Toole. Okay, no discussion, all in favor to table this item? That is unanimous. Very good, thank you. Item 8, planning and development, ordinance number 2025-03 to amend the zoning map of the city of North Augusta, South Carolina by rezoning plus or minus 86.12 acres of land owned by the Kellogg Corporation, ETAL tax parcel number 012-08-01-001 from CR critical areas to PD plan development. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on first reading? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Ms. McCauley, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Toole. Okay, is now on the floor. At this time, I will make a motion to table this. Do I have a first and second?
First.
First, Ms. McCauley.
Yep, I'll second.
Second, Ms. Carpenter, I think. Thank you. Okay, there's no discussion. All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Item 9, planning and development, ordinance number 2025-04 to approve the general development plan for the 467 plus or minus acre Kellogg Plan Development, generally located east of US 25 and north of SC 126. As first reading, the motion to put this on the, we have a motion on this item.
So moved.
Okay, Ms. McCauley, is there a
Second.
second? Mr. Toole. Okay, it's now on the floor. At this point, I make a motion to table this. There's no discussion. Is there a first or second? So moved. All right, Mr. Buck for first or second?
Second.
Ms. McCauley. Okay, no discussion at this time. All in favor? That is unanimous. Okay, thank you. Okay, continuing on the new business, item 10, planning development, ordinance number 2025-05, imposing a moratorium on the issuance of certificates of zoning compliance, building permits, design review approvals, site development plan approvals, subdivision approvals, or other similar land use or construction approvals on any multifamily developments. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on first reading?
So moved.
All right, Ms. McCauley, is there a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Buck, thank you. Anything you'd like to share about this, Ms. Clifford or Tommy Paradise?
Mr. Mayor, I did bring Tommy Paradise, our Planning and Development Director, to keep me out of deep water. But essentially, we took the guidance that we received through the study session at the council meeting and incorporated that into what we believe the council requested for consideration for an apartment moratorium. And so in doing so, what you have here is the proposed copy of that you had received, and the citizens had seen a version on Friday that was published in the council packet. Our city attorney found one item he thought needed to be adjusted or corrected, and that is what the version is that's before you today. Going forward, again, not necessarily the intent of the document, but just some of the verbiage associated with that. So we wanted to make sure we were straight. And so there's a lot of background in the first part of the ordinance, but then you have really essentially what it's seeking to achieve. And there's a couple things it's seeking to achieve. One is it imposes a moratorium until we have a updated development code or other city ordinances until August 7th of 2027, which is our requirement for a new comprehensive plan for the city of North Augusta. So that ties it to a specific action, not necessarily a time frame, although there is time associated with it. But in order to have an apartment moratorium, you have to be able to show that you're doing something in study, if you will, to make sure that that can be incorporated in the next iteration of rules and laws. And then there are some exemptions listed there. So that includes existing or ongoing planned developments, PD. So for example, something like the Hive at Exit 1, where the apartments are part of the planned development, the Adelaide or Highland Springs portion, which is east of 520, is a planned development. That would be exempted. So things are already in the pipeline that are part of the planned developments. This would not affect those developments. It would also not affect properties with approved development or site plans, even if the development has not started. So if it's already been through the planning department for consideration, our folks have spent staff time on it and given comments back to the developer, those are still in play. And then you also, as a city council, may approve additional planned developments during the moratorium, which will be exempt. So for example, if there was a large tract of land that wanted to come into the city, either in the city proper or from an annexation perspective, as long as that was a PD, that would be allowed to have apartments if the PD was approved. And then, Tommy, I'll turn it over to you as far as if you have any duplex discussions or anything like that. So all the duplexes and whatnot were taken out. So with that, I'll pause for any
What'd you
questions.
say about the duplexes?
That's all been taken out. I thought the ordinance is written very well. The background for citizens A through E does an incredible job talking about things that we've talked about for, quite frankly, the last couple of years and that we're addressing. And so I think it's well done. Any other questions for Jim or Tommy at this point?
Well, this is not a question, but my problem with this, if people own land, I mean, will that affect, I'm sorry, you can't do this with your land, and they're stuck with what they were going to do. I mean, this is a hard decision for me on this. Because I just don't want people.
Hold your thought, because that's for council discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you have any questions for Jim
my
in
bad,
particular?
my bad.
Okay. All right. Are there any citizen comments? Come on down, young man. State your name and address for the record.
How y'all doing?
We're good, Jason. How you?
Jason Winkter, 17578 Atomic Road, Aiken. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Can we get a summary of the changes from the Friday's published version to today's? Because I have Fridays, and that may clear up some of my questions too. Like, I know there was some talk about maybe exempting duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes at the study session. Did that exemption did get included or not?
No, that is, the only thing we're including here is apartments, multifamily. So we've taken out duplex, triplex, all of that.
Okay, so you define apartments in those as different.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you look at the initial study session ordinance, it has exactly multifamily, duplex, triplex, and quadruplex developments. And our study session, our advice to planning department was we were only interested in this situation, plain apartments,
Okay.
which is listed as multifamily.
Okay. And then one other thing I saw, excuse me, in the one that was published on Friday was under Section 2 moratorium, the period is for 1 year, and then under Section 7I, the ordinance is until August 7th, 2027. So I guess that got cleared up when you tied it to a rewrite of the
Exactly.
development.
We felt that it didn't, we felt like it didn't make sense to have the planning commission working on this in the next year when about a year after that, they're going to be working on an update.
Right. Okay.
So it just made more sense just to go ahead and put 2.5 years or whatever that amount comes to.
Okay. And so I just want to give you a couple other just facts and figures that we from the development side look at when we're doing looking at a multifamily project. I think that there was some shock value in maybe giving you all the totals of what is approved to date. The flip side of that is I'd ask you to look at how many actual standalone apartment complexes have been built in the city over the last, pick a year, 10 years, 5 years. There really, from what I can think of, haven't been that many. So I don't know that you're necessarily getting overrun as much as maybe you think, especially if you're only looking at standalone projects. The document from Friday said there are 2,883 units proposed. There, I guess, in some proposed in PDs or proposed in general. And that's probably a 15 or maybe 20-year supply. I mean, there's just, the market is what the market is. And the apartment market in this area is fairly soft, especially with interest rates going up. That's really curtailed a lot of apartment projects. I think I've heard some reference to the one behind the Quick Trips, and I think that's a casualty so far of increased interest rates. From my understanding, that one's been on hold and may never be built, could be sold as commercial, who knows. So I just hope for you guys and ladies to consider that all these things won't be built this year or next year. There's a long lead time on this. And then the number of parcels in the city that would currently allow multifamily it was a big number too. But back for a standalone apartment project, most developers are looking for that probably 250 or 300 unit deal to make the numbers work. And that's going to take 15, 20, 25 acres to do. And so now you really start, how many parcels do you have that really work? So that number comes way, way down too. So you don't have as many out there probably as you think. The good thing for a moratorium is it does help the current apartment owners get their rental rates up. So there's a positive for our side of that. So anyway, some things to consider as you're thinking about this moratorium. Thank you.
And I think you just brought up exactly why we're doing it. Because right now our code is fragmented where we incentivize everywhere. And what we're going to now be able to do when we come back at the end of this moratorium is we're going to be able, and not just as council, but our planning commission, our planning director, we're all going to be on the same page and know exactly, okay, what are we looking at? What will it look like for us moving forward? So this is going to give us, for me, I think it gives us a lot of opportunity to really get our arms around all this, to where we just don't have things pop up. Just because you have a willing buyer, willing seller, next thing we know, it goes by code and something goes up without us even being aware, hey, that could happen.
No, and I understand.
So
And I'm not here pounding my fist against it.
Why we're doing it, in my opinion.
Right, and I would hope
Those are
that
good
as you
points.
go through these discussions, that you'd include us, that are in this business to just give you what we face, and so you can consider the whole picture as you formulate your vision and how you.
You will,
write
because
this
that'll
down.
be a component of the rewrite, so yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate your insights. Any other citizen comments? Okay, now council.
Could we have a city attorney comment?
Yeah.
And
Not the turnover, council.
and I apologize for not seeing this. And Tommy, if you'll look with me under the now therefore be it ordained clause, I'm wondering if we need to down in there where we put approve under the development of other city ordinances, multifamily developments until August 6th. I had not really called it, but if you read the ordinance, you know what it's talking about. But when you get to that, I don't know that it's specific enough to make it clear what the moratorium is for.
You're talking about Roman numeral 1?
On Roman numeral 1,
Those aren't listed in that.
if you read that just by itself, it basically says we're not going to give any permits for anything. And I think we need to, where it says our other city ordinances for multifamily developments, that would be the amendment to include that after ordinances and before until August 7, 2027.
Or do you want to say as per section 2 of the current ordinance? Either way.
Well, I think the section 2 is okay. I think the only place we need to put this in is in number 1, so it's specific as to what you cannot issue the permits
So
for.
what you're saying is right now, you could read this to say, City Council hereby imposes a moratorium on the issuance of certificates of compliance, building permits. Right there, you read that by itself, it could be everything.
Right.
All right, so where do we need to put that in?
And if I'd read that last Friday a little closer, that's what I would.
I figured I saw the rest of that was in there, but where do we need to put it?
What I would propose, an amendment to, under Article 1 there, that it read Development Code or other city ordinances for multifamily developments until August 7, 2027. You're adding in there for multifamily developments.
So we're still going to have all of that first two, and then we'll come down here. So we're going to have City Council hereby imposes a moratorium on the issuance of certificates of compliance, building permits, design review approval, site development plans, or other similar land use under development code for multifamily.
Well, you could put it in
Until
there.
August 7th.
All right.
I mean, I don't know where do we.
Development Code or other city ordinances for multifamily development.
Okay, ordinance.
Until August 7th.
Yeah. For multi. Basically for multifamily. Okay.
It's missing the description.
Okay. All right. So we need to vote now.
You needed a motion to amend.
Okay. All right. So any questions before we get the discussion, let's just focus on this piece right now. Is any discussion on just this particular
We need a motion.
thing, well, we will, but before we do anything, okay. So is there a motion to amend Roman numeral 1, under section 7 to add for multifamily?
So moved.
Second.
First, Ms. McCauley, second, Mr. Toole. Now, any discussion about that? Everybody's good with that? Everybody good? On just
As
that
Mr.
amendment? I mean, just on that motion, on just that amendment? Okay, you good? Okay, all right, so all in favor? That's unanimous. Okay, now, council discussion about anything else. Thank you. Thank you, Attorney.
I just want to clarify the motion so we have it correct for in the minutes, because you guys read it back as a multi family. And for what I wrote down, just to clarify for the public as well. Sorry. So under now therefore, section 1, under the section that reads Development Code or other city ordinances for multifamily developments until August 7th, 2027. Until August 7th, 2027.
So after ordinances, we're including 4 multifamily.
Yep. Multifamily developments.
Yep.
We just need that word as well to clarify. Okay. That'll be in the amendment. Thank you.
And you got the first and second on that? Okay, you're good on that. Ms. Carpenter?
All right.
Council discussion.
Yeah, okay, first of all, does this include, like, let's say we're gonna build a senior citizens apartment. Would that include that it could not be built? Because it would be a multi.
Tommy's giving me the slight head nod that yes, that would be included in that.
Okay. All right, then number 2, I'm still against the 2.5 years. I think that's too long because in years down the road, behind me, that we made things that lasted too long and we wondered why. And I hate to say this, but one of them was, Jim, all that came up about you living in Columbia County. That should have been changed 30 years ago, and it wasn't. Okay, so I don't want us to get stuck.
The reason we're not stuck is because this is tied to what we legally have to do by the state of South Carolina, which is by August of 2027. We have every 5 years you have to revise your.
Yeah, I know we do, but
so that, it has to be done by that time.
Yeah, but so it's not that we can try it a year. I don't want us to lose a lot of stuff in North Augusta either. People might say, well, they don't want this. And the big thing I have a problem with, if you own land and that you're stuck with 2.5 years that you can't really, I don't like that the government is stepping in, telling you what you're going to do with your land and what you're not going to do with your land.
But our entire development code is us telling people what we
want is,
done.
But
so we
won't done. But I don't know. I'm going to vote for this, but I just want my things. And like I said, a senior apartment, which we desperately need in North Augusta. I have a friend right now is living in a dump of a trailer out on Martintown Road because she can't find anywhere to live in North Augusta. Everything's packed.
Well,
so, and I still say, and I'm sort of like Jason, when these young people get out of college, I'd like to know how many go directly build a house. And I'm like, another thing I'm like Jason with, I don't see that many in North Augusta. You do and you don't. So this is a tough decision for me. And I know our citizens are wanting this. I know the citizens are. Because they say too many apartments being built. But, it's a tough decision. And like I said, I just know I'd hate to wait 2.5 years.
Well, don't forget, we have an exemption, item C. City Council may approve additional planned developments during the moratorium if we feel there was such a need.
They can always permit.
But for me,
how we don't do that?
So, but for me, I see it as, to be frank, when we had our first off-site retreat 3 years ago, and Tommy talked about development, and he threw out 35% were in apartments. Okay, I think that surprised all of us. And Jason's points are well taken. That's why I'm voting for this. I want us to understand and be in control of what's happening. Right now, not one of us can sit there and tell you exactly what land's available for this to do. And what's going to happen is just like the apartment complex at QT, is somebody has a buyer, a seller, and buys them code. So there's no one on here against apartments. All you have to do is look at what we voted on. We're for apartments. What this is doing is, to me, is giving us as council a better understanding to where our planning commission, our planning director, and our council are all on the same boat as far as guidance, as far as what we want moving forward. And right now, I don't know that you could do that. I don't know. We know that information. I don't. Maybe y'all do.
Well, I know with all the development code and all that, yes. Once that person comes and you follow these rules. But before they get there, we have the right to say you can't do that.
I
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on all this, but it's a tough decision right here.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I'm not going to talk about the rights of the people versus the government. That's obviously a different topic. But what I will say is that from a pipeline perspective, we have an awful lot of apartments that are already permitted and are moving through the system. So to allay your concern about having a problem with apartment density as far as availability for our citizens, you have the Parkers at Exit 1, which is already coming online with the first set of phases, and that's a large complex, and that will provide several hundred units for residents. We have the apartments that are being built in Riverside Village now. Those are scheduled to come online in 2026. We have PD in place that includes multifamily at the Hive at Exit 1. And they've already started site work on that site, so that would lead me to believe that those multifamilies will be coming. And then I think the next development we're seeing apartments that are likely going to occur over at what we used to call the Moon Tract between Buena Vista and East Martintown. That also has a multifamily component. So without even making any additional council presentations about planned developments or apartments, you have hundreds upon hundreds of apartments that are already in the pipeline. The vast majority of which are highly likely to be built, permitted, and occupied. So I don't believe personally that a 2.5 year hiatus is going to have that much of an impact on the inventory for our citizens.
Sort of what Jason brought up too. What are we going? I mean, some of these places won't be built till maybe 28. I mean, I don't know.
I think one.
Yeah, somebody.
Get my thoughts on it. But, one concern for me is making sure, it's our job to be sure we have the resources to support everything coming in. And so if we outgrow the growth rate, which we're on a very high growth rate, we might not have the resources available to support all the developments coming in. And as Mayor Williams has said, our comprehensive plan is encouraging it. So this gives us the time to rewrite that, to be sure that we are on board, to be sure that we have enough resources for all the developments that are coming. In a 2-year pause, I think is the amount of time that we currently need to get our arms around making sure that we're able to have the resources available from fire. I know we were talking about another fire station out towards Exit 1 area and everything like that, and that would be an area where apartments are already at. So those are things that we need to analyze, and this will give us the time to do that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna follow up. Plus, I don't believe we have any apartments that are necessarily shovel ready right now. I mean, it's still gonna take 18 months to 2 years to even come and get it done right now. So I don't think you're going to impact it as much as we think, because it's going to take that much time anyway, just for them to get it approved and everything else done. So,
are any of them going to be senior apartments that you know of?
There's nothing in the pipeline right now for senior apartments, Councilman.
Because I kind of do see that as could be an issue, I mean, my mother, that's where she lives.
See,
and they get a waiting list. I mean,
and I hate to say, I don't want to fall dead tonight, but us seniors are living longer. Hopefully we are, and that's what I said. That I worry about that because
Councilwoman, I've talked to in my tenure here, in the time that I've been your administrator, I've talked to multiple senior living apartment developers and owners, and not one of them has started a complex here inside North Augusta in that time.
Except for the one on Knox Avenue is only.
Correct. And that I think that actually started before I got here.
Yeah, it's full. You can't. I mean, that's where my mother was.
But that's driven by private people. That's Mark. It's not us saying we need it. It's somebody who's going to make the investment. So
if somebody sees that, you can't make your investment in 2.5 years.
But Pat,
I'm sorry, y'all got to talk heavy.
But Pat, that's what the whole idea of the comprehensive plan. When the comprehensive plan gives Jason Winger's developers an opportunity, gives citizens opportunity, there will be charrettes and feedback. So what that does is, as a community, we come together. If that's a factor, if senior living is a factor, then that can be addressed in a comprehensive plan. That's what I'm saying. Right now, when it comes to apartments, as far as my concern, excluding mixed use, we don't have a strategy about apartments. I know of, unless mixed use. So why would we not want to get our arms around this to where we understand what inventory looks like, what could be available. And to your point, if that's something this community says, hey, we need to have that then that is something we can plan for. Right now, I don't know if any of us can I don't think we have our arms around multifamily right now.
Now, one more question. The place on Buena Vista, are they grandfathered in for what they presented to us
If we're
2
talking
years
about,
ago?
Yes.
They grandfathered in.
we're talking about the track that's,
Kneeling track.
track that's in between.
Bluegrass.
Bluegrass development that's between East Buena Vista and East Martintown. The answer is yes. And also the city has already made an investment in that property with our stormwater ARPA dollars to allow that to happen. So I feel confident that based on what's happened to date, that there's another development that will come online. And again, at very different price points throughout the city, depending on the locations.
But that's been going on, 2 years and hadn't turned dirt yet?
All these things take time, Councilman. They actually have done the stormwater aspect they've done because we've inspected that and made sure their work was complete before they were paid. So some of the site work on that site has been completed.
Well, I'm gonna go in and vote for it,
Well,
hearing all of y'all.
no, you don't have to. It's up to you.
No, I know I don't, but.
Any other council discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'm gonna ask for a vote. All in favor? That is unanimous. Okay, thank you. I don't think you will. All right, moving right along. Item 11, Planning and Development, Resolution Number 2025-02, accepting deed of dedication for the water and sanitary sewer, along with a maintenance guarantee and cash deposit for Parker's Kitchen. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution? Ms. Carpenter, is there a second? Mr. McGee, thank you. Anything you'd like to share about this, Mr. Clifford?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is a routine action accepting a deed of dedication for utilities via water and sanitary sewer, along with the maintenance guarantee for Parker's Kitchen. Just to reorient our citizens, there are two Parker's Kitchens, one that's complete and open, that's on Jefferson Davis Highway at Interstate 520. That's the one that this is concerning. There's also a Parker's Kitchen that's under construction on Edgefield Road and Escaga Road, and that'll be a future action you'll see here for a deed of dedication when that's complete. But this action that's before you is for the one on Jefferson Davis Highway at 520.
Very good. Are there any citizen comments? All right. Any council discussion? All right. Here and now, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Item 12, Engineering, Resolution Number 2025-03, authorizing the City of North Augusta to enter into a professional engineering services contracts with multiple firms to perform design services for various storm drainage capital improvement projects. Do you have a motion to approve this resolution? Mr. Buck, is there a second?
Second.
Ms. McCauley, thank you. Anything you'd like to share about this, Mr. Clifford?
Mr. Mayor and Council, this was a action that was requested by our Department of Public Works Director Tom Zeser. We had some existing contracts that had expired and needed to be renewed, and we're in a good place. We had 9 very good firms in a very competitive way present under the request for qualification. And of those 9 firms, based on the selection committee, we had 3 that were selected: Benish, Cranston Engineering, and Thomas and Hutton. And so those are the 3 firms that are listed for the resolution. And so ultimately, that's what we want to move forward with for on-call engineering services, specifically for stormwater.
You just answered my question. So what we're saying is these are 3 on our list, so we can go to either one of them depending on how busy or whatever, that we feel comfortable all 3 of these to be used if we need to for stormwater.
That's correct. And there's no pricing associated with those contracts. No. So it's just a matter of, for qualification, that if we have to do something, an example may end up being something like, if we're going to put in for a Rural Infrastructure Authority grant program through stormwater, and we want to have a good engineering submission to the RIA, that would be one of the firms we might reach out to help us get our case together to make a grant application.
You know, and the committee did the group did a very good job, and this is all as far as breaking down every company, how they were ranked and everything. So very transparent, very public, which will be on the website. So anyway, very good, very good. Okay, any citizen comments? Okay, council discussion? Okay, here now, I'm gonna ask for a vote. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. Item 13, finance. Resolution number 2025-04, approving the annual assessment report and amendment of the assessment roll for the Ballpark Village Municipal Improvement District and confirming the collection of annual assessment therein for the 2024-2025 assessment year. Do you have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Mr. Toole, is there a second?
Second.
All right, Ms. McCauley. Anything you'd like to share about this, Ms. Clifford?
Mr. Mayor, Jamie, or correction, Linda provided an update to the council during the study session about the mids and the assessments. And so this is an annual requirement that we're required to do. I would tell you, I'm feeling pretty good about the fact that likely 24 months from now, this is going to look like a very different report as we have income producing properties at C, K, G, and H, and potentially others. So ultimately, this is what sets the rate for the mids for the for the developers and for the property owners down there in the village, and we were requesting your approval this time.
Any citizen comments? Any council discussion? Yeah, I just have to echo I think we're in a really nice place to know that we've got ownership that's actually can make a mid payment, and the way they're moving, and that was the goal, to make Riverside Village a fully built out to where it would pay for itself, which frees up a lot of things and takes a lot of risk off of the perception from citizens. So anyway, we're moving in the right direction. So no other discussion. I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. All right. Item 14, administration, authorizing, administration resolution number 2025-05, authorizing extensions of awarded allocation of the Accommodation Tax Advisory Committee for the disbursement of revenues from the accommodation tax year 2022 and 2023. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Ms. McCauley, is there a second? All right, Ms. McGee, thank you. Mr. Clifford?
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is a list of the ATAX disbursement of revenues, and so ultimately many of them were able to disperse their revenues or receive the revenues prior to the end of the calendar/fiscal year, but some people had to move into this calendar year to fully execute their spending plan. And so that's what you see before you here listed in Exhibit A, and I'll very quickly read through what the organizations are, not necessarily the amounts, but the Aiken County Langley Pond Regatta, the Living History Park Advertising, North Augusta Forward Downtown, North Augusta Forward Friends of the Greenway, Parks and Rec for JOJ, Parks and Rec for Peach Jam Hospitality, Tourism for the Riverfront Boardroom, Parks and Rec Activity Center Gym Floor Resurfacing, or Refinishing, and Tourism, the Sharon Jones Amphitheater Concert Series. So those are the current recipients listed in your Exhibit A for ATAX money, and if there are any additional questions, I will likely defer to our city clerk, Jamie Paul.
Any citizen comments? Council discussion?
The only thing I would say is, some people always ask how this is done. Is it okay for maybe just say who this on this accommodations committee?
Yeah, we announce it every time. Yeah.
I don't know all the people on it. I don't know all their names.
We talk about
Do you know all the names?
every year we talk.
Jamie can tell us. I don't know. I just had people ask all the time who
Well,
makes up this committee.
this is very structured based off the state. And we have representatives from 3 hotels, 2 restaurants, arts and heritage. And we have a chairperson, and they have very strict guidelines, parameters of what the state says the use of this money can be used for. And they have to come in front of this group, and they have to make their point, and that group will say yay and nay, and they say yay and nay, depending on what it is.
That's all I really wanted, just a good explanation for the people.
You got the names exactly? Good. I'm going to read names.
We have Mr. John Felak from the Lookaway Inn. He is the chairperson. Marianne Bigger, Arts and Heritage Center. Terry Brinkley, Brinkley's Chop House. John Dawkins, Chick-fil-A. Trish Garcia from the Holiday Inn Express. Greg Greenewalt from Crown Plaza. And Brandon Green from the Green Jackets. And they do have to represent per this, the state, whether it be the hotel, a restaurant, and then a miscellaneous in between for the businesses. So everything is covered.
And then they spend a certain amount of money to advertise to get people to come and visit the area within that budget that they're applying for. Is that correct?
It's a 50-50.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of money that's calculated, that's formulated, and then brought back every year between the finance department. And they provide that to the ATAX the ATAX committee, and so they can disperse it throughout all the submittals.
It's a great way for people to come try and explore North Augusta.
But really today what we're really voting on is the extension. We actually have voted on this already, so there are four entities that, due to just the timing, we're not able to get this spent. So this is what we're voting on, just the extension. Yeah. So. Okay. All right. Any other council discussion? Good stuff. All right. I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor? That's unanimous. Very good. All right. We are coming down here near the end. All right. Item 15. Parks and Recreation, resolution number 2025-06, relating to the Department of Parks and Recreation Department, authorizing a grant application to the State of South Carolina Parks, Recreation, Tourism Department for federal funding assistance to support a project submitted under the Recreation Trails Program under the approval of the Federal Highway Administration. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Okay, Ms. McCauley, second. Ms. Carpenter, thank you. Anything you'd like to share about this, Ms. Clifford?
I'm going to turn this one over to our Assistant City Administrator, J.D. McCauley, to talk about for Parks and Rec.
All right, great. Good evening. Rick and Jim did a great job explaining this at the study session, but I'll go over it a little bit. This is a grant we get through, or we apply every 2 years to the South Carolina Department of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism. And we're trying to do something a little bit different this year. We're trying to do a trailhead at the Palmetto Parkway. It's the lot that's by the South Carolina DMV by the Skyga Lake Road. Rick held a information session last week, which I'm happy to say that a few council members were able to attend, so thank you for attending. It was very well attended. It shows that the citizens are very interested in our Greenway Trail system, and the Palmetto Parkway is kind of like a best-kept secret, which we're trying to change a little bit. And by bringing attention to the trail through a trailhead, that's what the purpose of us applying for this grant is. Now, this resolution that is before you is just to approve the allocation of the matching funds, which is $25,000. The total project would be $125,000. The $25,000 would come from Capital Projects Fund. So that helps us with our application, showing that the mayor and council are behind the application by saying we have the money to match, and here's where it's going to come from. So it helps our chances. Again, $1.2 million for this grant statewide, and they only give out up to $100,000 to each applicant. So we're asking for the maximum, and so up to you do the math there, about 12 would be recipients statewide. So this is before you for consideration. We look forward to hopefully bringing a trailhead out to that side of town.
Very good. All right. Any citizen comments? Got any council discussion? Yep, go ahead.
Okay, well, I was in attendance of that meeting. I have never seen the Palmetto Parkway Trail, never. So David Buck and I went, and of course, I wish we had the picture, what Rick showed us that with the what money, do you have a picture of that, JD?
I do not.
Okay.
But it's a parking lot with handicap access to the trail. Also would have a bench and looking for a pavilion for changing, and also maybe some portlets out there. Again, it's more of a phase one approach, just to kind of put a footprint out there to show that we care.
Right. It's going to be great because, and I didn't realize this, I guess riders come from work, then change into their riding gear. A bench to sit, relax a minute. Now, the only thing I didn't hear, water fountain, but trash cans. It seemed like there was something else.
It was like a display board for announcements for folks.
Yeah, but it's very, and of course, we took pictures of it, and John Smith, who I don't know if you know, used to be an optometrist here in North Augusta. But he went over and bought the gravel to put out on the parking lot. And so, I mean, and then there is a beautiful sign of everything that's there. I mean, it's a hidden secret. It's a diamond in the rough is what it is.
Yeah,
okay, and so I think
that's the problem.
What?
We need so many of we all get asked about the Greenway. We have people who are riding their bikes, they're professional cyclists on our regular Greenway.
Yeah.
They need to be at Palmetto.
Right.
Because that's designed. So I'm hoping with a pavement, with a sign, with a focus, then that will get more people who love to ride their bike fast. They need to be on that part of the trail.
And to
leave our safe Greenway
challenge
for others.
The up and down. Woo, woo.
Yes, it's got some nice hills and not quite as shaded as the Greenway. So the cyclists, I think, like to utilize that a little bit more than the runners do. But we can all work on it.
Mr. Bill ride the Greenway up there. I mean the Palmetto Trail. Okay.
All right, good. Any citizen comments? I already said that. I guess it's right. All right, any council discussion? Okay, if I said that twice, I apologize. All right, hearing none, other discussion, I'm going to ask for a vote. How about it? All in favor? All right, it's unanimous. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, administrative reports. It's our thing we love the most every Monday.
I would like to state for the record that my direct reports, Assistant City Administrator Macaulay and Parks and Rec Director Rick Meyer pointed out that more people came to their Palmetto Parkway information session than my debris information session. But I'm gonna take that as a compliment that we've been informing people so well that they don't need to come to the meetings. But we'll go ahead and get started today and let you know where we are. Next slide, please. So what I want to highlight for you here is you've got some gold dots that are on the roadways there. Those are stumps. And so a change from our strategy in dealing with the contractors in our last discussion with City Council is our sanitation department and our streets and drain departments are basically going to do the second pass for now until the contractors are done with the county roads, because there are a number of county roads that have not had a first pass yet. So all city roads have had a first pass that are our responsibility, but not all county roads in Aiken County proper have had a first pass. So that's where the majority of the contractors are working right now, is to get the first pass done. So what we're doing in agreement with SDR is we've left the large root balls, and they're going to come and hit those with their equipment, their heavy equipment, after they finish the first pass. So I'll show you where we've got some of those identified. So right now we have city crews working in different parts of the city. You can see there that we are largely complete with second pass through north of I-20. That also includes just south of I-20, there are Russian waters, and that we are currently working a small neighborhood south of Walnut Lane, close to Route 25. It's circled in blue, and we should have that done in the next couple of days, and then we're going to put that crew somewhere else. But you have 4 total root balls that need to be picked up by SDR north of I-20. So we're aware of those. We've passed that information to our contract partners, and so as they eventually wrap up into the county, that's their first priority, is to get after the root balls at these locations, which I'll show you some additional ones.
And those are city-owned roads only.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. Next slide, please. So we also got to work on Savannah Barony. So Savannah Barony, much like Hammond Hills and the Rapids, was one of the hardest hit neighborhoods. So we went in, and then also with contract crews, did a second pass fully on Savannah Barony. Savannah Barony, just in that one small neighborhood, has 6 stumps that have to be removed by large equipment. So those are marked and ready for pickup when the contractors come back through. And then we've also got our streets and drains crews who are operating the heavier equipment, are currently working over in the Hammond Hills area. So a lot of Hammond Hills is SCDOT roads, but there are some city roads specifically around the Hammond Hill pool that I have there circled in blue that are city roads. And so we have streets and drains crews currently working that neighborhood now.
Can I ask one thing? Oh, I presume Campbellton is a state road.
Councilwoman Campbellton is a state road, and I'm reporting that SCDOT has already started on their second pass on Campbellton.
Okay, because I was over there today, and right, like, let's say houses 960 area, I'm telling you, they've got those homeowners, I guess, did it. The road's almost blocked. There's only a one car can get through there.
I'm tracking, Councilman, and we've communicated that to SCDOT that that's a priority for us.
That's a very dangerous area.
But if you check the city's Facebook page or any of their citizens do, there's pictures posted, I think either today or Friday, of SCDOT crews actually working on Campbellton. So,
but I didn't know if would that be a second round on Campbellton or first?
That's second. They already done a first pass.
Okay.
And then what happened is a lot of the residents got trees out of their backyards and got it to the street. Next slide, please. So the city currently has 4 dump sites. Let's just call them interim dump sites. And our contract partners, SDR, are operating 2 dump sites. So they're operating dump sites on East Buena Vista and also at the Country Club property. And based on the FEMA rules, we cannot, with our city crews, dump directly onto SDR's dump sites. So we have to put them in an interim dump site, and then SDR has to pick them up from that site and then move them into their site for monitoring purposes and then have final disposition. So one of our dump sites is located here closer to River North. And so what we're doing as a strategy is trying to collate the number of dump sites that we have from 4 down to 2. So what we've attempted to do is start here in River North, and you can see there in River North there's a 1 root ball that's listed there on the slide. And city crews have already moved up around North Augusta Middle School, also known as the Crestland subdivision, and are working up in there, and will do so for the next several days. And so as they remove all the debris out of Crestland and the roads that are there on the east side of town, they're going to collate that near the site that we have near the Fifth Street Bridge, and then we're going to ask SDR to close that site for us to move all the debris to their site, and then we'll officially close that site with Department of Environmental Services. But that will give us an eastern trace look at some of those items. Next slide. After that, we're going to move. So these are light crews, not the heavy crews that Streets and Drains are using with the large equipment, but these are like the boom trucks and smaller equipment. And so after we get through with the first slide there for the Fifth Street Bridge, we also have a dump site, interim dump site there in Belvedere. And so the roads that you see listed here in green have already had a first pass, and we'll go ahead and give them a second pass, and then those will be collected at the Belvedere interim site, and then SDR will service that site, move that back to their either Buena Vista or Country Club site, and then we will fully close that site. Now we'll leave us with the sites we're currently operating at the soccer complex, which basically is tied to the Buena Vista site. And then also we have a dump site at the Country Club property, so it's physically separated from the SDR site, but they're near each other, so it's easy to move material between the two. Next slide. Really what I want to show you is, in a very short amount of time, the second pass is definitely going faster than the first pass. And so from the time that I briefed you last time till now, we're almost halfway through with the city-owned roads going through the neighborhood. So, and we'll see areas that are not going to require a second pass. And I'll give you some examples. If you go out there, the road that services Fire Station 3, that doesn't require a second pass. So we haven't gleaned that up yet, but I don't need to put another city crew out there to do a second pass because it's just not required. And then there are chunks of neighborhoods, large parts of Hammond's Ferry are not going to require a second pass. And really what I mean by that is we're not talking about normal yard waste. So if you're raking your yard and you're putting stuff out there, that doesn't count as vegetative debris from a FEMA standard perspective. And hence it will not be counted in the FEMA debris overall counts, nor will it be reimbursed by FEMA. So our focus right now for our city crews is to get after all this FEMA debris first, and then at some point in time, I'll come back to council and give you a brief that says we're ready to move back into normal operations for yard waste. But again, for the fact that we're not going to be meeting with a study session next week or the long weekend, the week after, I would certainly feel comfortable in telling you that by the time we meet again, we'll be well over halfway for our city-owned streets into February. Next slide. And that's all I have for the City Council this evening.
Very good. As always, good job.
I keep getting asked what the number is on the stumps, and I keep telling people it's the size of the stump for them to document what's getting picked up. Is that correct?
There's a few different ways. So what SCDOT appears to be doing is marking theirs with green fluorescent paint. So when we see those markings on a stump, and we'll see a lot of those in Hammond Hills, that's just SCDOT inventorying and cataloging the stumps, which also gives me the good feeling that they're going to come back and get those. And though for the stumps that we're looking at, we basically have that marked through our GIS system, which I showed you a screenshot of, and we share that with our contract partners. That includes a GPS location and a picture, and they have the mission to pick those up after they finish through the county roads for their first pass.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for Jim? All right, we're going to move into presentations, communication, and recognition of visitors. At this time, if citizens want to speak to mayor or council about anything not on the agenda, this is a great time to do it. We'd love to have you come up and give us your name and address and talk to us. All right, guess not. All right, so final thing, just two reminders. February 11th is the Republican primary election. All those location voting places you can see on Facebook and go about anybody's Facebook. They'll have it posted. Well, I don't know. Well, it's not a city election, but I'm sure it's on the North Augusta Republican and all of y'all have it. But I'm sure we can put it on there. Yeah, JD will post it. Okay.
Yeah, we need that.
Yeah, and then we will not be meeting again until the 24th. That'll be a study session. Okay, so that's all I've got. Anything else, Mr. Toole? Anything for you? David Buck, you good? Mr. McCauley, Ms. Pat. All right, David, Kelly, you good? All right, we stand adjourned. Thank y'all.